Namaste, a very beautiful day to all of you. This is Professor Ajit Jaiswal, Head, Department of Anthropology. Now let's start discussing the 35th lecture of a lecture series on Indigenous Knowledge System from the Earth for the Future. Today I will discuss on Indigenous Knowledge System and its contribution to agriculture. Remember, in the last class we discussed about the role of Indigenous Knowledge System and its contribution to the field of healthcare, and we highlighted series of important points or key points that contribute to indigenous knowledge system to healthcare, like traditional medicine, medicinal plants and herbal remedies, cultural practices and rituals, holistic healing method, contemporary and integrative method, cultural competence and respect for diversity. Today we'll discuss a lot in detail about its contribution to agriculture, like agro-ecological practices, traditional crop variety, seed saving and exchange, water harvesting technique, traditional knowledge and plant medicine, cultural practices and rituals. So these are the 6 important areas that we'll discuss about the role of indigenous knowledge systems and its contribution to agriculture. Remember, if you have missed the previous lecture that we discussed that is related to indigenous knowledge system and its contribution to healthcare, if you have missed that, see the link given over here. Not only that, if you have missed any of the other lecture related to the series of lectures called Indigenous Knowledge System from the Earth for the Future, then you can also go to the link given over here. Now hit the like button and subscribe for more important anthropological lecture. If you have any doubt, then feel free to ask through the comment section. Now let's start discussing about contribution to agriculture. Indigenous knowledge system have made significant contribution to agriculture by offering sustainable farming practices, traditional crop varieties and ecosystem-based approaches to land management. Now let's try to see the key contribution. As I told you, there are 6 important key areas of analysis in order to define indigenous knowledge system to agriculture. First one is agro-ecological practices. Indigenous communities have developed agro-ecological practices that are adapted to local ecosystem and promote ecological sustainability. These practices include intercropping, polyculture, crop rotation, agroforestry and terrace farming, which enhance soil fertility, water retention, pest management and biodiversity conservation. Agroecological approaches prioritize the preservation of ecosystem services such as pollination, soil formation and natural pest control while minimizing reliance on synthetic input. Next important point is the traditional crop varieties. Indigenous farmers have cultivated a diverse array of traditional crop variety, often adapted to specific agroclimatic conditions and cultural preferences. These traditional crops are known as land races or heirloom varieties, exhibit genetic diversity, resilience to environmental stressors, and adaptation to local soil and climate. Traditional crop variety contribute to food security, dietary diversity, and cultural heritage preservation, serving as a reservoir of genetic resources for future crop improvement efforts. Next is seed saving and exchange. Indigenous communities have long-standing tradition of seed saving, selection and exchange, which ensure the continuity of traditional crop variety and promote agricultural resilience. Seed saving practices involve selecting seed from the healthiest and heaviest and most productive plant, serving seed or preserving seed through natural drying and storage method, and exchanging seed with neighboring farmer to maintain genetic diversity and adaptability to changing environmental conditions. Next is water harvesting technique. Indigenous farmers have developed innovative water harvesting technique to capture, to store and distribute water for agricultural purposes. This technique include rainwater harvesting, contour bunding, check dams, canal systems and traditional irrigation methods such as kantas, khools, terracotta pipes. Indigenous water management practices enhance soil moisture retention, mitigate drought risk and support crop growth in water limited environment. Next important area is traditional knowledge of medicinal plant or plant medicine. Indigenous knowledge of medicinal plant and herbal remedies extend to agricultural practices where certain plants are used to improve soil fertility. They repel pests and enhance crop growth. The companion plantation, for example, involve intercropping crops with aromatic herbs or flowers that deter pests and attract beneficial insects. So indigenous farmers also use plant extract, compost teas and biofertilizers derived from local plants to enrich soil and enhance plant health. Similarly, the last important point, the sixth one, is cultural practices and ritual. Indigenous culture incorporate agricultural practices and rituals that cultural ceremonies, festivals and seasonal calendar. These cultural practices reinforce agricultural tradition, mark important milestones in the farming cycle and foster community cohesion. Rituals such as seed blessing ceremony, harvest festival and land acknowledgement ceremonies imbue agriculture activities with spiritual significance and reinforce stewardship of the land. So overall, we have seen that almost all the 6 areas that play a very important role in order to define the role of indigenous knowledge system to agriculture, like agroeconomic practices, traditional crop variety, seed saving and exchange, water harvesting technique related to the traditional knowledge and plant medicine, cultural practices and rituals. All the 6 areas overall, it explains the contribution of indigenous knowledge system to agriculture and highlighted that the importance of ecological sustainability, cultural diversity, community resilience in food production system. So there is a need to integrating indigenous agroecological knowledge with modern agricultural practices. Remember, many times we used to ask, what is your role if you belong to rural area, if you belong to urban area, if you are a researcher, if you are doing work on a specific area, how you will contribute? So this is the way you may contribute. This knowledge will polish your existing thought or vision to contribute something. Like if you belong to a rural farmer family, if your family is following the traditional knowledge system, if they depend on the traditional method of farming, these are the methods which will be highly useful to improve your existing structure or to make you somewhat different from the other one. So we may say that integrating indigenous agroecological knowledge with modern agricultural practices can enhance soil health, conserve biodiversity and promote food sovereignty for indigenous and non-indigenous community alike. So that's all for today. This is very important for all of you to understand, to analyze. It has series of practical applicability. Nowadays we are discussing about value-added courses, we are discussing about skill-based courses, we are discussing about new national education policy, we are discussing about the applicability or the applied aspect of any knowledge. All this knowledge are applied in nature. All this knowledge are value-based. All this knowledge are skill-based. So remember, if you have all this knowledge, probably this knowledge will make you somewhat different from the other normal, skilled, normal, generalized people who is preparing for any as such competitive examination or those who are appearing for any as such examination related to UPSC, UGC, NET and so on. Remember this point, all this knowledge will make you somewhat different from others. So if you have any doubt, any queries related to the present lecture or any of the earlier lectures of this existing series concern, then feel free to ask. That's all for today. Important information, a new video will be telecast every day around 1 p.m. So please keep your notification bell on. Thank you so much. Namaste.